Hey everyone, welcome to our ultimate in-depth Riven guide. This guide is brought to you by a pro player that has hundreds of hours on Riven with a 60% win rate, so not to worry, this guide includes every little thing you need to know about Riven. We know some of you are looking for specific information, so feel free to check the timestamps to find what you are looking for. We will be going through abilities, skill order, strengths and weaknesses, combos, animation canceling, summoners, runes, itemization, enchantments, when to pick Riven, and matchups in general, tips and tricks. Without further ado, let us start by explaining how our abilities work. The passive, Runic Blade. After every ability, you gain an empowered auto attack that can stack up to 3 times. So make sure you don't use more than 3 abilities without auto attacking to maximize your damage output. The first ability, Broken Wings. Slashes enemies up to 3 times. The third slash crosses small terrain and knocks up nearby enemies for half a second. Upgrading this ability increases both base and attack damage. The second ability, Key Burst. Damages and stuns nearby enemies for 0.75 seconds. Upgrading it increases base damage and lowers the cooldown. The third ability, Valor. Dashes in a direction and gains a shield for 2 seconds. And no, it does not cross terrain. Upgrading it grants a bigger shield and less cooldown. The ultimate, Blade of the Exile. Grants 20% bonus attack damage and range for 12 seconds. Can be cast again to launch a wave that deals more damage to low health enemies. Upgrading it increases base damage and lowers the cooldown. You might ask, which skill to upgrade first then? So skill order in every single game will be Q, E, W, and the skill path will be like this. Although on level 2 you might want to unlock W, if you are playing more aggressively, and the extra damage with a stun is exactly what you need to outtrade your opponent, or secure that first blood. Okay, but why do these abilities make Riven one of the best snowball champions on the Rift? Let's talk about Riven's strengths and weaknesses. So Riven's strengths. Number 1, massive one-shot potential. Riven can burst almost any champion from 100 to 0 in a couple of seconds. Not only that, but also while being stunned most of the time. Number 2, very high mobility. Because of Riven's E and Q, she is very hard to catch. Also on the other hand, it is very hard to escape from her. You can also use this mobility to get into advantageous positions very quickly, and flank the enemy during team fights by crossing terrain with the third Q. But like all champions, Riven isn't perfect and has some weaknesses too. The biggest weakness is 0 sustain. Riven is no Renekton or Fiora. If she got out-traded and dropped to low health, she stays low health, and there is no healing back. So you gotta be precise while trading and plan your next steps in advance. Riven is also very squishy. She can easily get one shot, especially in the early game. But if you are able to snowball and bought a couple of items, you will become unkillable if played it correctly. The last weakness is difficulty. Nope, not really. Unlike what you might think, you will find Riven is fairly easy after watching this video. You just need to play it for a while, and it's all about muscle memory and finding the right moment to engage. Alright, let's talk about the good stuff now. Combos. These are the most important combos you need to know about. Flash combos. You can flash combo with the third Q. You can also flash combo with the second ultimate cast. Basically, you cast your second ultimate, or third Q and flash immediately like this. All in combo. Ultimate into E immediately, to cancel the ultimate animation. Now you can start hitting the enemy by an auto attack, first Q, auto attack, second Q, auto attack, W into third Q without auto attacking to chain CC. This gives your enemy 0 chance to react to the knock-up, and flash from it or dashing away. Then you can auto attack twice if you need to, before casting the second ultimate, to finish the enemy off. Short combo. Third Q, auto attack, W, auto attack, E away. This combo is great when you want to trade while low on health, or you know you can't win longer trades, since it gives the enemy a chunk of damage, while being stunned the whole time. We won't want to bore you with a trillion Riven combo, so these should be enough for you to know your way around. Unless it's not, then let us know in the comments. Now let us get into the action, by looking into real game situations. As you can see here, I was low on health, and if I just walk up to Renekton, he is going to stun me and kill me, of course. But as Riven, you can prepare your third Q just before the minion dies, just like I did here, so you can last hit the minion to recover in the lane, and even small trade with the opponent while being safe the whole time, by using the E to dash to the turret, using the short combo we talked about. Notice how Renekton used his W to try to stun me and kill me, but he was unable to hit me because of my CC. Keep in mind if we were level 5, I'll probably just leave the wave and recall, since he can dive me easily with his ultimate. Here Darius was just not respecting Riven's one-shot potential, and he didn't have a flash, so I just used the all-in combo to get the kill. Notice since Darius didn't have a flash, I was able to auto-attack twice before casting my second ultimate. Otherwise, I would have used my ignite to secure the kill and cast the second ultimate right after my knock-up, so he can't dodge it by flashing. If you like this guide so far, hit the like button, this really helps us to make more videos like this. Back to how to Riven, you might have noticed Riven has 2 animations for the first skill. This is because of the dash and the move direction setting, which you can find in the control settings.
Minions have spawned.
But what does this setting even do? When it's off and you tab cast a damaging dashing ability, it automatically dashes toward the enemy. If it's on, you will dash based on where you are dragging the move stick. We recommend turning this setting off when playing Riven, for 3 reasons. First, attacking an enemy near a turret, like this, when it's on, it's almost impossible without taking a couple of turret shots. When it's off, you almost dash in the same place, so you stay out of the turret range. The second reason is faster animation. This might not look like much, but it could be the difference between winning a fight or losing it. The third and final reason, you can use the longer animation even if the setting is off, by aiming your Q instead of tabbing it, so you can use either animation whenever you see better. Keep in mind this setting doesn't affect the third ability, because it's not a damaging ability, so no matter if it's on or off, it always dashes in the movement direction. Okay, now you know everything about Riven, but what summoners, runes, and items you should get. Note, the following recommendations are for patch 4.0c, so if you are watching this on a later patch, things might be very different. For the summoners, you should always take Flash and Ignite for most matchups, but consider Exhaust for certain matchups, like Jace and AP Gragas. Regarding runes, use Conqueror always. For the Domination tree, use Triumph for most cases, but you can also use Hunter Vampirism for more lifesteal. Weakness if you want to deal more damage after stunning enemies. Giant Slayer against health stack champions, or Sudden Impact against heavy armor champions. The Resolve tree depends more on your playstyle. All of them work well on Riven except Loyalty of course, although we recommend Adaptive Carapace, or Bone Plating. For the Inspiration tree, always take Hunter Genius. Alright now, which item should you get? This can be very situational, but there are 3 core items you will get in almost every single game, which are Black Cleaver, Death's Dance, and Divine Sunderer. Just buy Sheen after Black Cleaver, and then get Death's Dance. After you finish the Death's Dance, upgrade the Sheen to Divine Sunderer. Death's Dance can be an exception to this rule. If you are against a lot of ability power champions, replace it with the Force of Nature. But this doesn't mean you always get those items first. Let me explain. If the enemy has a lot of lifesteal and healing, so champions like Fiora, Wukong, and Rengar, by the Executioner's Calling, no need to upgrade it to a full item unless you already bought the other core items. If you are laning against ability power champions, like Teemo, Kennen, or AP Gragas, buy Hex Drinker. If not, but if they are heavy on ability power, get it as second item, also no need to upgrade it till the late game. If you are ahead, get Yumu's Ghostblade to further extend your lead. If the enemy has a lot of shielding abilities, buy the Serpent's Fawn. So buy those items in the order we talked about, that's if you do need them of course. Finally, now you can buy your core items, Black Cleaver, Death's Dance, and Divine Sunderer if there is still space for it. Alright, but what if you didn't need any of these items? Right after you get all 3 core items, you could buy Sterix Gauge and Guardian Angel for a full fighter build. Or if you want to be more of a tanky Riven, get Spirit Visage for more healing and magic resist, and Randuin's Omen to reduce enemies' attack speed. You also can go crazy and get Solari Chargeblade for insane crit damage, or Hullbreaker for side lane pressure, or Cerilda's Grudge for more anti-tank and CC. Itemization tip: anti-heal and anti-shield effect doesn't stack, which means if all 4 of your teammates and you have anti-heal, only one affect the enemy. So if you are fighting a lot with your allies, save your gold and buy another item. Also, Cerilda's Grudge and Mortal Reminder don't work together regarding the armor penetration effect, since they have the same armor penetration passive name Last Whisper, so only one takes an effect. Also, Mauve, Malmortius and Sterix Gauge, even though they have different shields type, only one shield is granted. That's also because of the passive name Lifeline. If you aren't already subscribed, do it now, and hit the bell icon, so you don't miss our upcoming in-depth items guide. What about enchantments though? It depends more on your playstyle. Although, we recommend Protobelt, or Stasis, or even Stoneplate. Just make sure you don't use your combo when it's active, because it reduces your damage by 40%. Also, enchantments like Teleport, Meteor, and Quicksilver can be more beneficial in certain situations. Now you know all about Riven, but is it always good to pick Riven? Short answer, yes, definitely. Long answer, Riven in general can be less impactful in team fights against a lot of CC, and against very high mobility champions. If you are unable to flank the enemy, you will need to waste so many dashes just to reach the enemy. At this point you can only auto-attack, and probably get punished for it. Regarding matchups in the laning phase, like all melee champions, Riven struggle the most against ranged champions. And champions with sustain like Fiora and Renekton. Also tanky champions like Malphite, but they are easier to deal with. If you don't engage on them, they can't do anything to you. So in these types of matchups, your goal should be just to farm, or push and roam. If you are curious about how you should play the laning phase, or mid to late game, check out our playlist in the description, for full Riven gameplays including Riven top, mid, and even in the jungle. Alright, let's finish this video with some professional tips and tricks. Always make sure before trading, that the enemy does not have bone plating up, or you will lose the trade in a very bad way. Don't go for crazy plays by yourself like 3-man knockups using your third Q. We know it's the perfect engage, but if no one can follow you, you will end up dying for nothing. If you are forced to do it alone, make sure you use the second Q and third one at the very last moment, otherwise you will end up with a very long cooldown. Like we said earlier, Riven has 0 sustain, so if you traded with Renekton for example, and both of you ended up half health, eventually Renekton will heal up and will have the upper hand in the lane. So make sure your trades are perfect against matchups with sustain. After buying your core items, you should look to team fight more instead of trying to duel your opponent, as Riven has insane team fight potential. If this guide was helpful to you, hit the like button so you can help us too, and subscribe, so you don't miss our upcoming guides like this one. Thanks for watching, bye.